9 people walked into the Ural Mountains. None of them came back. And what rescuers found at their campsite has never been fully explained. Not in 1959. Not in 2019, when Russia officially reopened the case. And not today. This is the Dyatlov Pass incident, one of the strangest mass deaths in recorded history. The group set out in January 1959 from Sverdlovsk, now Yekaterinburg, in the Soviet Union. They were students and graduates of the Ural Polytechnical Institute, ranging in age from 21 to 38. Their leader was a 23-year-old engineering student named Igor Dyatlov. Experienced, methodical, highly regarded by everyone who knew him. The group had completed difficult expeditions before. This was a Grade 3 hike, the highest difficulty rating of the era, but they were more than capable of it. Their destination was a peak called Odorten, deep in the northern Urals. To reach it, they would need to pass over a lower ridge called Kholat Syakhl. In the local Mansi language, that name means Dead Mountain. They were due back by February 12th. When they didn't return, a search party was dispatched. On February 26th, rescuers found their tent on the slope of Kholat Syakhl. What they saw stopped them cold. The tent had been sliced open from the inside. Not unzipped. Cut. Multiple cuts. Made with a knife. From the interior. All 9 hikers had left through those cuts and fled into the night. Temperatures were between -25 and -30 degrees Celsius. Most of them were wearing only partial clothing. 2 were barefoot. None of them had stopped to take supplies, food, or proper winter gear. They had run. In the dark, in the cold, with nothing, away from the tent, not back toward the tree line and shelter, but downhill toward a ravine. Rescuers followed the footprints, about a mile from the tent, near a large cedar tree. They found the first 2 bodies, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko. They were barefoot. Their hands were burned. They had built a small fire and held their hands directly in the flames, apparently past the point of feeling. Branches on the cedar tree had been broken off at height, suggesting one or both of them had climbed it, possibly looking for the tent, possibly watching for something. 3 more bodies were found between the cedar and the tent. Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. They appeared to have been trying to return to the tent. They had died where they fell, one by one, from hypothermia. The final 4 were not found until May, when the snow melted enough to reveal a ravine. They were buried under 4 meters of snow, and their deaths were different. Nikolai Thibaut Brignolal had a fractured skull. Lyudmila Dubinina and Semyon Zolotaryov had catastrophic chest injuries, multiple broken ribs, internal hemorrhaging, damage consistent with a vehicle impact, or a powerful explosive blast. The lead investigator, a man named Lev Ivanov, compared the force required to that of a car crash. But crucially, there were no external wounds, no bruising, no cuts, no marks on the skin at all. Whatever had broken their ribs from the outside had left no trace on the surface. Lyudmila Dubinina was also missing her tongue and her eyes. The Soviet investigation concluded in May 1959. Its finding: the hikers had died from an unknown compelling force. The case was classified. The files were sealed. Igor Dyatlov's family was told only that their son had died on a mountain. The decades that followed produced dozens of theories. Military weapons testing was among the first. The Soviet military operated in the Urals, and witnesses in other parts of the region reported strange lights in the sky around the time of the deaths. Some researchers pointed to classified parachute mine experiments. That could theoretically produce an explosive shockwave, without leaving surface damage. Infrasound was another theory. Specific wind conditions passing over mountain ridges can produce low-frequency sound waves that resonate with the human body at a cellular level. At sufficient intensity, infrasound can produce panic, nausea, visual disturbances, and overwhelming terror. The theory holds that the hikers were driven from their tent in blind panic by something they could feel but not hear or see. The most scientifically credible modern theory is a specific type of snow event called a slab avalanche. Unlike a conventional avalanche, a slab avalanche releases a dense plate of compacted snow that can strike with enormous force, enough to cause internal injuries without surface damage. In 2021, a team of engineers published a study in the journal Communications, Earth and Environment, using modern simulation software to model exactly how such an event could have produced the injuries observed. The Russian government cited this research when it officially closed the case in 2019, ruling the cause of death as an avalanche. But the families and many investigators remain unconvinced. The slope was not steep enough for a standard slab avalanche. There was no evidence of snow displacement when the tent was found, and the slab theory does not explain why 9 experienced hikers cut their way out of a tent instead of unzipping it, nor why they ran downhill away from shelter rather than toward it. As for the missing tongue and eyes, the current scientific consensus attributes these to natural decomposition and scavenging by small animals during the months the bodies lay under the snow. Some researchers accept this, others do not. What is undeniable is this: 9 experienced people who knew mountains, people who had trained for exactly this environment, were so afraid of something that they chose certain death in the cold over remaining in their tent for one more second. Whatever they saw, or heard, or felt on that ridge in February 1959, it was enough to make dying in the snow seem like the better option. Kholat Shakhl, Dead Mountain, named long before they arrived.